Greetings and blessings, everyone. Welcome to the Awaken Podcast. I am your host, James Thomas Devitt, founder and director of the Awakening Network. As always, we are sponsored by the Blue Star Spiritual Group and the Blue Star Academy Spiritual School. I'm very excited today because we're doing a part two. And with me again today is Stella, better known as Stellar Music. She does the most incredible, amazing spiritual music on the planet today. Period. End of story.
Wow.
And I trust me, I've heard a lot. I've actually got to meet one of my favorite spiritual musicians, not a singer, but a musician by the name of Robert Coxon from Canada. And he's wonderful. But what Stella is bringing through and what she is creating is next level. And we might have an opportunity to ask her what's new on the music scene. But today we're going to be talking about something that's been coming up, and it's basically what is happening on Earth today. And so it's going to be really good. And I'd like to welcome to the show once again an international singer-songwriter, music extraordinaire.
Oh.
This is Stellar.
Oh, thank you, James, for another amazing introduction. I don't know if I can really live up to that, but thank you.
Actually, you got that introduction because you've already achieved that.
Oh, bless.
So it's
Thank
not
you.
about living up to something that you've already achieved.
Thank you. Well, that's a real blessing to receive that, and I'm honored. Thank you for seeing me.
Oh, I can actually see you better now.
Yeah, he's got new glasses on, guys. I can
Yeah.
actually see him here.
I know that with the podcast, it's a situation where you listen to it, but you don't see us. But Thursday evening, New Zealand time at 9 p.m., doing another live channeling with Al Sharon. And I'm actually also doing an interview at 3 o'clock New Zealand time with Michelle Lightworker of in Enlightened Conversations TV.
Oh, yes, I
And
saw
so
you posted that, yeah.
all of you will be able to see that I have new glasses and they're actually pretty cool looking. And everyone's noticing that I've had a little bit of a fight with the lawnmower and lost. And so my hair is much shorter now. I had a New Year's resolution that I wasn't going to cut my hair this year. It lasted till the 10th of March, and my wife said, nope, that's not happening. So I went and got my hair cut.
Samson.
Well, as guys should know, happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, that's a very good rule of thought, mostly.
Yeah, it is. So what is your feeling going in the moment with regards to what is happening on the planet?
Well, I would say there's so much stir right now about this thing called the event, right? And I just
Oh
wanted to
yes.
bring some of my heart clarity to what that is. And I've been saying this for a very, very long time. And the first thing I say is, if you want first contact with alien life, look in the mirror. You are here, right?
Yeah.
That's the first thing. And number two
And
is,
that's true for every star seed on the planet.
yeah, absolutely. And it's starseeds that will be tuning into this broadcast. And the second thing is the event, it's not something we wait for. It is us. We are the event. So we are co-creating this. And what I'm saying is this incredible energy of enthusiasm and hope and excitement and all these wonderful qualities of the heart that are just rising up into the collective right now. But I think what you have done, James, in certain groups has brought greater clarity so people aren't disappointed, because I know there's a great programming out there and a great meme right now that kind of says, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, something's coming, and something is coming, but we almost have to anchor this in as divine. I call human beings on Gaia antennae. We're like antennae. Our spinal system, our head, our physical bodies with our feet on the earth, we're like divining rods for this energy that's incoming. So it's about being prepared to receive that energy with the qualities of the heart: excitement, joy, appreciation, gratitude, whatever it is. We've got to stay in that high vibe space. But really, we are the event. There is this diamond light code coming from the galaxy and everything else. But I'd love you to speak into that a little bit more. I just want to remind people that they are creators and they are co-creating this event together.
Well, they are. And I think the thing that is concerning, most concerning for me, and I hope that people understand this, because of what has occurred, and for those that may not be aware of what has occurred, in 19, and now I've spoken about this before and everything, but in 1987 there was an event called the Harmonic Convergence. And when that event happened, a choice was made. Now, the choice was made by a particular percentage of native human people. Now, what a native human basically is somebody whose soul has only resided upon Earth, okay? And it was their choice to make. It wasn't our choice as far as star seeds go. It was their choice to make. And the choice that they made was that they were ready to ascend and they were ready to evolve. Now, we get into this mode because when we are incarnated on this planet, we are bound by linear time here. And so we expect things to happen during our lifetime or soon. I'm reminded, the guys upstairs that are in quantum time, I've had them tell me so many times, oh, don't worry, it's going to be soon. And then for me, it's like 3 or 4 years down the line or 5 years down the line, But to them, that's
right,
soon.
right.
That's like next moment type stuff.
Yeah, well, it is to them. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, exactly. So having started on this path back in the mid 80s, I heard so many people talk about the fact that we are, this is a school for us and we're here to ascend and everyone's waiting for the ascension. And there's one channeler out there channeling who he claims to be the Pleiadians, and it's like they've been talking for over 20 years about how they're going to do first contact, and they're just waiting for this thing or that thing to happen. And of course, we're still waiting for it. And the problem is that people have gotten a little bit of information and made assumptions. So the event that's happening, well, in 2012, on December 21st, 2012, and Stella, you understand the importance of the equinoxes and the solstices. These are sacred moments in time for us. And it was the point of no return. So if they had chosen no in 1987, on December 21st, 2012, all life would have been gone on this planet. And we would have reset and started the grand cycle all over again. They said, yes, we passed that marker, so evolution is assured for the native human population.
Mm-hmm.
And so from that, in 2015, there was a ceremony conducted on the Sea of Galilee in Tiberias, Israel. And on that ceremony, phase 1 of Project Earth was completed. And we have started phase 2. And then all of a sudden, since 2012, just look at what's going on in the world. Just look at the conflicts and the everything else that's going on, the revealing of secrets. What was it? Just last year, we found out that JFK, John F. Kennedy, was not killed by a lone gunman. It was an assassination, and it wasn't Lee Harvey Oswald. We found that out,
Yeah.
and it's documented.
Well,
So the reviews have started.
I always call the 2012 phase the beginning of the 2012 gang. And
Yes, yes,
the 2012 gang was a really hardcore period for Starseeds because we were severely under attack, under
yes,
persecution. We came through the greatest of tribulations from that period. And
yes,
we're actually almost at the other side of that now, but it was really hardcore experience for high level initiates to come to Earth and experience and to transmute and balance those energies. And we actually went through our greatest trials for a lot of us in that sort of 7 year period, which has nearly come to fruition now as the end of that. But yeah, the darkness was having party time, big time with all of us.
Well, we started a cycle which actually finishes on 2034. And there's going to be a lot of change going on between now and 2034. The midway point was, of course, December 21st, 2012. So all of a sudden, we have this event going to happen. Now, people will say, because I saw this in a group earlier today, this morning actually, a couple of channelings about the event and the ascension and everything. But what people need to understand is with channeling, because I'm a master channeler, I've been channeling for over 28 years.
And I can very much vouch for your channelings, James, because I've received quite a few of those, and they are very, very high level emanations, I would say, coming from the God Star and various different aspects like Sananda and different people who are in other dimensions who are not incarnate on Earth but are here to guide. And I'm very grateful for your presence in my life. So I just want to add that in. It's highly credible.
I just wish I remembered it.
Yeah, well, it's probably a good thing you don't.
Because I'll tell you what, I mean, I do these live channelings with Al Sharon, but I'm not allowed to listen to any channeling. So I put them out there, I do them, and then like within 5 or 10 minutes, I've completely forgotten what has been said.
Yeah,
And then
because
the
you're
next thing I know,
bilocating,
it's
right?
like,
Yeah.
it's been
Yeah.
put out there, which is all great and everything. And yeah, it's I don't watch my own channelings, but yeah.
Well, it's
So
like when you bilocate, you're totally in your heart, so the mind has no recognition.
exactly,
You're almost
yeah.
exchanging souls in that heart space. I'm the same when I sing, by the way, so I can totally relate to what you're saying. I can
Yeah.
never, God forbid I have to do a live concert and repeat something that I recorded 10 years ago. It's just not going to happen. It's only going to happen in the moment, right? I appreciate that, which makes my concerts so rare because when people do hear me live, it is all in the moment. And when I hear the playback, I'm like, I have no recognition or recollection of what I've just done.
And that's because you enter into the quantum space,
Right. Yeah.
which is exactly. I mean, I do that when I channel. I do that when I do the Akashic scrolls, because when I'm done with the Akashic scroll and I've sent it to the client, it's like if someone were to ask me about it, I'd say, well, they had two female guides and a male guide, or they had two male guides and a female guide. Um, yeah, and that's all I would know. I wouldn't have a clue of what's in there, and it's 6.5 pages long.
Right.
So anyway, so I looked at a couple of channelings. One claimed it was from Sananda, and one claimed it was from Yeshua, and neither one was correct. But the problem is that with channeling, they work through our filters. So if
Yeah.
you have this firm belief that you're going to go through the ascension, and then you channel someone, well, they have to work through that filter to bring through whatever message they're bringing through. So if they start talking about the ascension, it's going to correlate more with your own beliefs.
Yeah. Well, that's it. But we all have at least 10 lenses of perception through all the different light body systems through the teachings. This is something that I'm well versed in. And unless we have cleared those 10 filters of perception, we can't be a clear channel of light, because
Yeah.
our egoic interference and our water memory and everything else as starseeds gets caught up in the message. And I have to say, you know, I've gauged a lot of the stuff that's come through you, even though you have no recollection, and it's always been perfect, like really, really spot on. So you have mastered this through your lifetimes. This is not just something you do in this life. You've done this through many, many lifetimes. So I really
Well, I
honor
have.
that.
Yeah. And like this time, I mean, it was all about, you know, don't listen to other channelings, don't read spiritual books, you know,
Yeah.
pretty much stay away from belonging to spiritual groups. So it's been very isolating in many ways, but it's all been about preparing for this time right now.
Absolutely. And this is it. This is where we all come together. This is the gathering.
It
And
is. It
yeah,
is. And it's like the energies are changing radically.
they are. They're changing people's lives. I mean, I mentor in any 1 month, I mentor about 20 different people, mostly women, but I occasionally get men stepping up who want to discover their divine feminine within, which is wonderful because then they're ready to meet their twins. And it's a really beautiful process to honor and witness. And you know, what I'm seeing more and more is people and you know, souls really, really grasping the magnitude of the energy that we're in right now. And a lot of them are struggling, but then there's one way to take them out of that, and that's the higher perspective. That is the perspective of the higher self. And looking at a situation that may be very tough on earth and looking at the outcome before it happens, and knowing that that is an anchor for them to really come through with love, you know, addressing all of these issues with the heart and love. And I think that's the key essence for the event. And if I may, I just wanted to read something out that we discussed earlier. May I do that?
Oh yeah, please, by all means. It's beautiful.
So this comes from my teacher who was here on earth, this life, for 25 years, but I've known her for hundreds of thousands of years. And this is her message for the event. As a co-creator on earth, she says, I call you again to dream your dream. I call you again to dream your dream anew. To become the soul incarnate in the image of the Creator. To begin the process again in the minutest of detail of your perfection of your heart. As the sun increases its light now and the great rays shine upon us and upon our beloved planet, let it begin. Let it start again the way it can and it will from your heart, from your memory of so long ago for now. You have dreamed so much, beloveds, and so much has happened to that perfection. And now it is time to dream this dream again. It's called the Great Dream. The dream of joy. The dream of the soul incarnate in the oneness of all that is. The dream is that not just for you, but for everyone. It is not just your feelings, it is all feelings. It is a dream from the very beginning, and a dream to be reawakened from your very soul. And you are the dreamer, and you are the one that can dream that dream and create again all that was most beautiful and most cherished and most beloved of the Creator. For that is our collective dream. And so it is.
And so it is. That is just so strikingly beautiful and very appropriate now as well. Because and the reason why that's so appropriate is because after, starting in around 2012, there have been so many starseed who have been awakening. I mean, it's been astronomical, the numbers of starseed that have been awakening. And I am aware of the fact that they probably think that it's because we're close to leaving the planet or whatever. But it's like the thing that's kind of struck me. I grew up in Christianity. And so for about 11 and a half years, I was a Methodist. And then for about 3.5 years after that, I was a Southern Baptist. Southern Baptists are very
Wow.
fundamental. Yeah, I know.
That's like Bible bashing central, right?
Well,
Actually,
we did have a
my grandmother was a
we
Baptist.
always had a kind of a tendency to call it Bible thumping.
Right.
But along with that, the thing that always struck me with the Southern Baptist Church was it was all about the second coming, and it was all about the rapture, and the big battle between light and dark, and everyone going to heaven.
Yeah. Hmm.
And it never really made sense to me, and I really couldn't put my finger on why. And then in a very mystical spiritual event that took place in 1989 for me, probably about 2 months before I started channeling, actually, I had an experience of experience the actual, true, pure, unadulterated, unconditional love of Source.
Wow. And what a moment that is.
And it changed my life.
Mm,
And I had several epiphanies when I had that event. I had the epiphanies of God doesn't judge anybody.
right.
Um, God actually doesn't interfere here. There is no heaven and hell. There isn't going to be a rapture. That there is more life in this universe than anybody can possibly imagine.
Yes, there is. Yeah.
And I could literally feel pure love for every literal thing dealing with this planet.
Hmm.
Every
Wow.
person, every animal, every blade of grass, every rock, every droplet of water, every fish, every bird, every star, every planet, every being in the universe.
Everything that's alive, you were feeling in the oneness, right? It's the
Every
one.
everything. I could literally feel everything. And for years and years after I experienced this, because I could share this with somebody, and they could, excuse me, and they could intellectually understand what I was saying, but they couldn't
Appreciate it. Yeah.
appreciate it because they hadn't actually experienced it. So my question that I asked Spirit over and over again wasn't why did I have this experience? It was why haven't more people had this experience?
Good question. Yeah.
Because if you experience that, it literally does change everything about you and your life.
Well, somebody put it really clearly the other day, and they said instead of being a microbe on a glass slate under the microscope lens, you become the observer that's looking through the microscope at the microbe on the glass slate on the lens.
Yeah.
So do you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
become the whole. And I had that actually on the 11/11/2011. I had exactly that experience where I became the tires on the road, on the cars outside. I could smell the onions being chopped in the kitchen. I could hear a wolf howling in the forest. I became everything. I all of a sudden became that observer point looking down a very subjective experience that we call the incarnate human, if you like. And And that was my big awakening, actually. It was a very intense experience, actually, which I won't go into detail. But I do remember the incredible detail that I had in that moment, which I had when I was 4 years old. We discussed this before in our last show. But again, it was brought into my adult awareness of what this oneness field was like to the minutest of detail. And I think what we're being asked to do with this event energy, which we can talk about a little bit more, maybe, James, is
Yes.
we are co-creators of this. We are co-creators of this new world. We are co-creators of whatever we want this next phase to be. Stop waiting for something to happen and create it. That's my general feeling right now.
Well, the thing is, though, with regards to that, I've actually requested that Al Sharon talk about this event that is happening from the standpoint of the God Star. I don't know if he is or not because he never tells me what he's going to talk about anyway. It's very annoying, because then I never actually know what he's talking about at all because he doesn't tell me beforehand.
Well, actually, I think what might be appropriate is that you play our activation, actually, after El Sharon.
Oh, the first activation.
Yeah, maybe you would like to talk a little about what we're co-creating together for this time sonically.
Ah, yeah. Well, as I said in the intro, in my opinion, and I've been on this path for a very long time. I've listened to a lot of very spiritual music and everything like that. Stella is the top of the rung on creating this music that just transcends time and space. It transcends everything in this universe, and it does. And she she had an idea because I speak a multitude, and I do mean a multitude of light language dialects, and I have spoken light language now for over 23 years. And so I have created, along with my wife Janice, we have created 10 very, very special God Star activations. There is an activation for the masculine, there is an activation for the feminine, and there is activations that are different. You have the first, each activation of the 9 is like a higher rung on the ladder, and it's a higher vibrational frequency, and it's a higher. The words just escape me a little bit on this. It's just that
I was
magnificent.
gonna, I was gonna say you want to try editing it. I have to go
Oh, I
lie
know,
down.
I know. And then number 10 is a blessing straight from source
Yeah,
and
it's
from the
really
God Star.
really powerful stuff. And in fact, I'm working on one a week. That's about as much as I can hold right now. And I recommend that that's what we put out. But it's having listened to a few of them back to back, just to hear the sound quality and everything, I had to go lie down. I really did. It was so full on. It was like, oh my goodness, this really is the next level stuff. And I'm not here just to, sing your praises, James. This really is the real deal, next level work, because everything that happens here in this reality, this temporal realm, this 3D, whatever you want to call whatever dimension you think you're in, because I know I move through dimension all the time through my levels of joy. But here we are in this temporal realm as a blanket space. And then James and his wife, his beloved, are doing these incredible emanations from source. And I'm sitting there, in GarageBand trying to edit these things. And it's just the most incredible thing. So what I'm doing sonically with my voice is creating a carrier wave for these emanations to go straight to people's hearts. and it's really important work, and we will be releasing these over the next period of weeks according to the event energies. So stand by for that, and it's something that's really incredible. I have to say, it's a deep honor to be asked to co-create in this way with these two, because they really are incredible beings, very powerful beings. And
Well, let me tell you just how special this is,
oh,
and let me tell you how powerful and how important this is. Okay. The 11th track, because this album will contain a total of 11 tracks. The 11th track is a special, very, very special masculine, feminine union God Star activation. My wife Janice and I are twin flames, and that takes things up a whole nother notch. And so on track 11, Janice and I do light language together. But here's the deal. Janice, the only time that Janice speaks in light language is when she is doing healings. And she will very, very rarely do light language for a friend of ours who is one of my team on the Awakening Network, who does starseed readings, Anita. But she's only done that like once or twice. So there have been so many times when I have spoken to her in light language and wanting her to converse in light language, and it's like she just doesn't do that. It's like, and it's annoying. It's like, geez, come on, just open your mouth and let it out. And she doesn't, of course. So this is going to be next level. This is beyond anything that anyone has ever heard, and it will literally alter this will actually go so deep that it will touch your levels of DNA and RNA, and it will actually alter your actual cellular structure and bring it into an alignment that is beyond anything that you can possibly imagine. It is truly magnificent and amazing. And this is something that Stella and I are creating. It was an idea that came up, and we just felt like it was time for it. Stella occasionally, as you may know, does share her music, and I encourage everyone to check out her website and buy her albums, because it not only does it support this work, but trust me, you would not be you would not be disappointed in any way, shape, or form.
oh, bless you, James. Thank you.
Life altering, and this new album that Stella and I are working on is going to be next level. By the way, Stella, I have a question for you with regards to this incredible album that we're making. Have you got it for it yet?
Have I got a name for it yet? Did you say?
Yeah.
Well, it feels like, okay, I'd like to speak into the ancient Egyptian wisdom that we all carry here as star seeds, because we've all come through the mystery schools
Oh yeah,
of life.
definitely.
You know, we've all come through these initiations, these grand initiations, but through divine law, of course, which is back on the planet. And, you know, when we went through these initiations, sound was an incredibly important part of our teachings,
Yes.
and an incredibly important part of soul teaching, soul awareness, soul awakening. And so the high mystery school teachings would always have started with sonic ability. And what you'll find with starseeds is they have this incredible ability for either singing, music, or art. You know, those are the creative forces that we use to change this reality. So when you come into the sonic awareness, it was always used for high spiritual teachings and not mere entertainment, which has been sort of relegated to of the past, with the 3D relegation of people like Michael Jackson were here to elevate consciousness through sound and rhythm and dance, and his incredible performances. We've
Yes.
had beautiful icons like Prince and John Lennon, and incredible starseeds that have been here to change consciousness through sound, to change our awareness through sound.
David
And
Bowie.
now David Bowie,
Yeah.
Bowie, whatever you want to call him. We had so many angelics here to teach us, and they did. And what we're doing now is we're taking everything into the frequency of the grand design of nature, which is 432 hertz. And from that pivotal point, we are able to open a package of data that has been previously unavailable to us in this incarnate existence in the 3D. So we've got now this packet of data that's opening up as our consciousness is, and music can be a high spiritual teaching again, rather than just an entertainment factor. It's going to go off the octave, as I say. It's going up in different dimensions of appreciation, but anchored here on earth through people like myself and other people who are working in that frequency, and as well as James's and Janice's light work with their light language. It's just amazing. And as I say, I have to take it easy how I produce this, but it's really, really next level stuff. So we would be delighted to share that when it's ready to go.
Well, I mean, like you sent me that first track that you've been working on, and my wife Janice and I were sitting here in the office, and I played it, and then she goes, "I'll play it again," and I played it like 3 times in a row. We literally just blissed out. I mean, I'm working with these high energies all the time, but it's like this was so next level, and it's interesting because I learned about the 432 hertz from my son Zach.
Mm-hmm.
He's a muso. He owns Conclave Records, and he's the one who told me about the 432 hertz. And they actually did an article about that on Gaia TV as well.
Yes, they did. And finally, it's been recognized as not woo-woo or psychopaths and all the other demonization that's happened to us as pioneers of this frequency. And there's a great documentary out there now called 432 Hertz Activists, of which I do a little segment in there. A great friend of mine who is a cymatic scientist called John Stuart Reid does a segment. There are some really amazing classical musicians who've come forward talking about Verdi pitch and Verdi tuning. Of course, Mozart composed everything in A432 hertz. I mean, it's just been lost in time, and it's our resurgence of the divine feminine. That spiral of the omega factor is coming back into consciousness, and it's done through sound, which is 432. It's incredible time.
And of course, all of the light language that Janice and I did for this project have all been recorded in 432 hertz.
Yeah, beautiful.
And I mean, like I was saying just a little while ago, the only time Janice ever speaks in light language is when she does healings. I try and get her to talk in light language all the time, and she won't do it. So for her to actually do this is like next level amazing.
Yeah, she felt it. Yeah.
But the thing is, what really freaked her out, we played back the last one that she and I did together, and we're listening to it, and she was like, "Wow, we really sound alike." And I'm like, "Yeah, this is why I've been trying to get you to speak in light language."
Oh, the dilemma of the twin flames.
I know.
Come on and mirror me with your sound.
So going back to the event. Now please keep an eye open for this when this comes out, because I'm telling you now, the more people that listen to it, the more people that play it, it literally has the ability to change the energy of this planet. Mm-hmm. And that's the bottom line. But with this event, it is true. There is a very sacred, special energy coming to the planet. Now, some people call it the phonetic or photonic energy,
photonic light, yeah.
photonic light energy, and that is very, very true. But it is not about the starseed's ascension, because with all due respect, we've already ascended. Once you've
Yeah,
ascended, you don't have to do it again.
we're descending down in to help the others. We're the mop-up team.
I mean, we descended initially to actually be here and be starseeds. When you have beings who come through, and I've noticed this going back to like the late '80s,
Mm.
and I could never quite figure it out. They would say, we honor and respect and love you so much for what you do, and I kept thinking about that. It's like, why would they say this? And
Because it's so hard.
I realized why, because we incarnate here. Our normal self is like in the fifth or sixth dimension.
Right.
We come from a planet that is so different than this one,
Yeah.
and we are fully participating here. And during this incarnation, this time frame, as Starseed, we are asked to awaken. We are asked to remember who we are. We are asked to remember that we are so much more than meets the eye. And this energy, the reason that this energy is going to hit Earth, I will tell you right now, nobody else has said this, but I am going to tell you right now why this energy is going to hit Earth. It is because of all of the different starseed who have been awakening.
Yeah.
As
Amen.
more and more starseed awaken, that sends a signal out and says we are ready to receive the energy, because that energy isn't about us, the starseed. It's not about having us ascend. It's not about us doing something like that. What it's about initiating the fire, if you will, for the native human population of this world in their evolution. It's going to open that doorway so that they can start taking the steps to fully move into phase 2 and eventually into phase 3, because phase 2 is actually a very small phase. But phase 2 is the transition between phase 1 and phase 3. Phase 3, once we really move into phase 3, that's when the age of awareness is going to be beginning.
Which is the big age of co-creation. But let us not forget why we're here as starseeds. We are here to serve humanity.
Correct.
We're not here to ascend. We're not here to, we live in different dimensions in other worlds. We all have memory of that. We are here to serve humanity as our number one role.
Correct.
And that is not to cop out. We've had to wade through dark places to help this happen. And I have to say, every starseed that has shown up here, I fully honor you. I congratulate you. I celebrate you for your bravery and your courage for coming here to do this. This is not an easy job.
No. It is not an easy job at all. And, it is to be honored and cherished for what we do. And that is very true. When when is the event going to happen? I'm going to tell you the exact time as I have been told. And it may annoy the hell out of you. It'll happen in divine time, divine order, and divine rightness.
And you know what? That's how I live my life, and I'm never disappointed as a
Exactly.
result.
You gotta let go of the expectations. And you gotta let go of the expectations.
The expectations and the dates. And you know what I've noticed, James? I've been watching several psyops that are operating on Earth, psychological operations. And what they're doing, they seem to be managing humanity's expectations in 2-week chunks. So, okay, everything's going to happen in 2 weeks' time. Doesn't happen. Oh no, it's going to be shifted, and it's going to happen 2 weeks later, and then it's shifted, and it's a fortnightly psyop that seems to follow humanity around. And don't forget, as divine co-creators, there's no such thing as a fortnight. We're in the now moment. We are in this co-creation field of 0 point, and we are it. Stop going outside to these 2-week chunk management programs and start creating what you need to create, co-create together from this beautiful space of your heart. You know,
And,
that's my view.
and I'll tell you why that's so important. As I said, I grew up as a Christian, and there was all this talk about the rapture and the second coming and everything like that. And there was also within the metaphysical community, ever since I kind of walked into that community back in the mid 80s, and all of this talk about the ascension. You've got people out there who are channeling, saying that, you know, there's going to be first contact, or that we're going to ascend, and all of this other stuff. And all I ever see is people feeling disappointed.
Yeah.
People wonder why there are so many people walking away from religion these days. And the reason why there's so many people walking away from religion is because they've been sold a bill of goods that never happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's like they're over it. Then you get people within the metaphysical community who end up walking away from their own spirituality because they have bought into whatever someone's been selling as far as the ascension or whatever, and it's not happening. And so people just get frustrated. And part of the problem also is when you are awakening, you have these people out there. Some of them mean well, some of them do not.
No, well, I can vouch for the ones that don't.
Yeah, it's the same. So can I, trust me. But the problem is that they have the right words or the right phrases, and people buy into it, and they will follow them no matter what.
Yeah, they
and the thing is we've been given tools as Starseed to use. Things like you follow your heart and guidance. As you so eloquently put, Stella, be in the now moment. Let go of expectations. And the number one thing that we have, discernment.
And our heart, yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing, which you, I know, utilize beautifully, and anyone who does creative things like music, things like that, would utilize it. And this is a tool that we all have, imagination.
Yeah, absolutely. That is your strongest gift. I did a little vignette about that the other night. It's like we have been taught through our conditioning here on Earth to transcend as starseeds and, of course, help Earth's native population of humans, is to believe that everything that comes through our imagination is make-believe. But actually, it's your strongest superpower. Because as a co-creator of heaven on earth, your imagination is the carrier wave to create everything in this now moment. But we've all been told that that's make-believe, and you're a fantasist, and you're crazy, or whatever. And of course, people that try and do this stuff are called the great misfits of life, who have done actually the most exponentially beautiful things on this planet. So you have to push through so many layers of programming and conditioning to get to that source point. And that should be the work, not sitting and waiting for an event that may never happen. You are the event, and it's your time to co-create this. But you have to push through the initiation. You have to really utilize the belief of your heart and your imagination. And that's such a potent message for right now.
And the other thing that goes along with this, and it popped into my head as you were just speaking, the event may happen, and because it doesn't happen the way you think it's going to, you won't even realize that it's actually happened.
Right. And that's like timeline jumping. That happens all the time. You know, we move through various different dimensions and timelines, and we don't see it happening. All that changes is our feeling. And when you're in a state of joy, you're in a very different dimension to Earth.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Believe me.
This has been just a completely true pleasure. Being able to have this conversation. Now, the other thing that Stella and I are going to be working on after we finished our current project. We are going to be looking at possibly doing a weekly show,
Yeah.
which would be amazing. Now the Awaken podcast is going to be continuing, but I've decided that it's just going to be an interview show. So when I can, I will invite different people on the show, and I will be interviewing them and allowing them to share who they are, what they do, and because there's people need to be able to have a voice, and I want to make sure that people, no matter who they are or where they come from, have a voice, and that's very important to me. And
Yeah,
so,
that's really beautiful.
yeah, and so Stella, I want to thank you tremendously for giving of your time and your energy and everything to be on the show again, to do a part two about the event, which I think is going to be brilliant. And it'll be interesting to see what else Sharon decides to talk about on Thursday evening. But nevertheless, I want to thank you very, very tremendously for being here and sharing such wonderful, beautiful wisdom with everyone.
Well, it's an absolute delight, James. Our energies work very well together. We come from the same space, and it's
Definitely.
really lovely to bring this energy through. And not much more I can say other than stay tuned for the next emanations of love and joy from our hearts, and the flow of which we sit in, which is that 0 point energy. And until the next time, and maybe the next show or program, who knows? I've had all sorts of interesting people in the past come onto my show, and then the 2012 gang arrived, and I decided to go off radar for about 5 or 6 years. But I'm fully back, and it's lovely to be back and to share with you, James. So thank you for having me on the show again. It's been an honor.
Always. Now, I want to thank everyone. Just a couple of very, very quick announcements. On our page, Blue Star Spiritual on Facebook, we are running a contest at the moment for a free reading. There are 4 or 5 different readings in the context, so you can choose your if you're the winner, you can choose that. Just go to the Blue Star Spiritual page, scroll down until you find it, and then do whatever the instructions are. Anita and I have also decided, because we just recently hit our 1,000 liked level, shall we say, we've decided to run a special for the next week starting today. You can get either a personal Akashic Scroll or a Starseed reading for $75. That is a $25 savings on either one. It is only for a week. Take advantage of it. The details are on the Blue Star Spiritual page. You can find the Awakening Network at www.bluestarspiritual.org. And Stella, would you please be so kind as to let people know where they can find you?
Sure, you can either go to www.stellar-music.com or stellar1, number 1, so stellar with an R, number 1.bandcamp.com, and all my delightful 432 Hertz emanations and offerings are there. And it would be a delight to share them with everyone. So thank you.
And thank you again, Stella. And for everyone out there, much love and blessings. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you next time.